It's fun. What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast, coming at you loud and proud, bringing strong opinions and salty humor to Ohio State football. These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State, and their brand of banter is guaranteed to entertain and excite you. But if you're not a Buckeye, don't bother. Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Buckeye Cast to stay up to date on all things Ohio State football. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
Thank you for joining us, Buckeye fans. We are back once again. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast. It has been a harrowing week for some of us down south here in Florida. We're going to be without Jeff today. He still does not have power back in Orlando. So wish him the best and his family and everybody. And there's a lot of people here in St. Pete actually that are still without power and cable, obviously. So it's been difficult. We just got our cable back up yesterday, and hopefully everybody checked out the extra points that I pushed out this morning. I hope you enjoyed that intro. That was pretty solid, I thought. Kind of expressed my inner feelings in a Will Ferrell quote, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I think we are still in line for the playoffs, personally. We just have to win out. Another loss will definitely smash the plans. But anyway,
Word.
Yeah, got Shawn in here, coming from his up north POV. And as you know, you can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all that good shit. Hit the website, thebuckeyecast.com. We always have the most recent game streaming in the shortened version, the 30 or 40-minute version. So check that out. And, you know, you can always email me at joe@thebuckeyecast.com. And subscribe to our email list if you want the up-to-date info on our shows and what we're talking about and thinking. So let's quickly get into this Oklahoma recap. I think we got the gist of our thoughts out in the extra points. That sounded weird. Gist of our thoughts out.
Easy.
Yeah. So just to recap Oklahoma, I have a few numbers I thought I'd throw at you, Shawn, and get your take on them.
These ought to be good. I mean, I made some comments, but I didn't get it all out. I got a lot more to say about that bullshit. But
well, these numbers probably just fuel the fire, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
hit me with something.
I'm big into the kind of advanced stats that College Football Film Room puts out, cfbfilmroom.com, and they're all over Ohio State's passing game. They have charts and everything. It's very informative. I would recommend it. So Ohio State receivers have caught just 1 of 10 contested targets this season. So that tells you the passing game struggles do not fall entirely on JT, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
okay.
Yes, no, maybe so. It's a mixed bag.
So let's compare 2015 and 2016. Let's call it 44% in 2016 and 40% in 2015. Okay. So still both above 40%, not even close to the 10% we're looking at after 2 games of this year.
I'd like to, stats can, stats for losers. I'd like to know a little deeper on that stats. How many contested balls are we talking? I can't say that. I mean, are there a bunch of contested balls? I see a bunch of overthrown balls, underthrown balls. I see, where guys are completely blanketed and, the ball gets knocked away. To me, a contested ball is, basically what Lego was doing to us week 1, where, it's thrown out there, 2 guys go up, and, one guy comes down with it. like to know a little more on that number, but yeah.
Let's go on. Let's
terrible.
go on the presumption that that means a guy was covered when the ball was thrown, whether it's by one guy or two guys or whatever. So still, that tells you that JT still does not have the trust in the receivers to either make the catch that's contested or a guy that's covered, and he's gun shy. So moving on to the next number, JT is completing 30% of his passes on throws 10-plus yards downfield and 88% of his passes under 10. Obviously, this is a shot at his accuracy at mid to long range, right?
Well, I mean, it's both. I mean, my kids catch, my 10-year-old son catches, 50% of the balls when we're within 10 yards of each other. Yeah. And if we go a little deeper than that, he can't catch shit. Right. So, I mean, it's on both of them, I think. But it's ridiculous. It's I don't even know how you could be that bad. I really don't.
Yeah. So, I
mean, but what's your biggest take on it? I mean, the stats are good, but I mean, JT's not throwing good balls. He's not. I don't think he's releasing it in time. I think there's way too many. You'd mentioned before about the little hitch in his throwing motion. I just see the, just waiting that, split second longer with another extra hop in there with his happy feet and not being comfortable, and just getting rid of it too late.
Yeah,
just so worried. He wants everyone to break open, and our receivers, frankly, our receivers have no minds. They're fucking automatons out there. They're like, here's the route tree, and the route tree sucks to begin with. But I don't see any of them ever stopping and giving what the defense is taking you, sitting down, to beat the zone, sitting down in the open spot. It's just like, I'm gonna run my fucking route, and if I'm open, I'm open. And there's always guys sitting there. They know it's so predictable.
Right. I think his pressure stats are telling as well. 7 of 16 under pressure snaps. Okay, for 72 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. That's horrendous. That's a 43% completion percentage. He doesn't try anything. He's 0 for 2 over 20 yards to the middle of the field, 0 for 4 to the right side over 20 yards, 0 for 8 in 10 to 20 range to the right side. All of his completions are high percentage throws to less than 10 yards, and then he's 3 of 4 over the middle of the field in between 10 and 20 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but I mean, if I'm a D coordinator, I'm gonna have a lot of guys up close to you.
Yeah.
Because until we show that we can, at least scare you. And I don't know, with all these 4-star recruits and super burner speeders, we can't get behind anybody. On the rare occasion that we do, either we throw a shitty pass or the guy drops one right in his hand. So it's just, the passing game is a mess. The biggest problem with it to me is, okay, the passing game is a mess. You know how you get it better? You fucking run the ball.
Right.
And that seems to be working fine. I don't know why they get away from it. They're so quick, always to get away from the running game. Get so worried. Oh, geez, we better, we need to score faster, quicker. Run the ball. They're going to keep cheating up, and then it's got to open it up for you. And I don't know. I haven't seen anyone shut our running game down yet.
Well, the problem with the Urban Meyer offense that I see, the glaring problem that we've experienced in most of those the big game losses, is he puts the running game on the quarterback. Not the running backs. Like, remember Zeke against Michigan State, underutilized, lost at home.
Two carries in the second half, I think.
Exactly. But he put the onus of the running game on the quarterback, which is stupid. If the hot hand is the running back, keep it in his hand, or just let Mother Nature take its course and ride the running back. I know he loves the QB run game. That's kind of his thing. He kind of invented it, or at least made it prominent, nationwide. But teams are onto it now, especially when you're in crunch time in the second half. Teams are keying on the QB run. It's pretty obvious.
Oh, I mean, it's insanely obvious. I mean, I remember going back looking at some of those videos where, right when the ball snapped, you've got a safety sprinting for the line. He don't give a shit. I mean, you know where it's going. 20 times a game, this is what's going to run. What are we going to run? 60, 80 plays? So a quarter of them plays, JT's going to keep it and run that play. Yeah. So.
And then 20 more carries are going to be to a running back. So those safeties that are flying up are aiming for a running back or the quarterback.
And I don't know. Maybe JT is just playing a little smarter. Do you feel, just from the eye test, that he's not as quick or running as hard? Or I don't know.
He's
runs
more
out of bound a lot, which okay, that's fine. But is diving a lot, not getting tackled, and it looks like he's going to get tackled. So maybe those smart plays. Maybe that's what he's coached to do. Yeah. But it seems a little tentative to me. From the moment he plants his foot in the ground and takes off to the finish of the run, I just don't see that fire and desire like he had before.
I agree with you. He's running more carefully. He's not carrying guys like he used to. He's running careful and trying to avoid injury. Whether that's instruction from the coaches or just his own thought process. Like I can't get injured.
Right.
Which could be both, could be one, could be the other. I don't know, but he definitely is running carefully. But I'm gonna unload some bombs on these fucking receivers. I told you before that this is my major issue with the offense. Going back to last year, I was calling out Zach Smith. Love his recruiting game. He owns the state of Florida for Ohio State. There's pretty much nobody he can't land as a recruit, but I don't think he's a coach. He's not a coach of any position, much less wide receivers. We've been stuck in this stagnant area, and I'll go back to Mike Thomas, Devin Smith. Mike Thomas got his coaching outside of the program. He made himself.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of. Yeah.
He made himself a great receiver by working in off season with coaches he hired. He paid. So that tells you something big time. And obviously Michael Thomas, is a stud in the NFL now and is going to be one for the next 10 years. But
absolutely.
I think these guys on the team right now are not getting quality coaching for whatever reason. Maybe Zach Smith is spending too much time on the recruiting trail or on the phones or whatever, and not enough time on the practice field or working these guys out. It seems pretty obvious that this has been a problem for at least 2 years. At least.
I would agree, and maybe even longer. You had Smith that was just, it was freakish how he was catching the long ball. But
Thomas.
If you go back and look at that.
Devin Smith, yeah.
Yeah, even back to then, it was amazing how he was catching all those long balls. But, a lot of those weren't even great throws. He was a burner, and he definitely had an ability to do that, at least on the college level. Yeah. I haven't stayed up with him much on the pros to know. Michael Thomas is, he's just a flat-out freak. But, yeah, I'm with you. I would get that, okay, hey, you got some 4-star kids in here, and some of them might fall flat. But that room's been full of studs for years. Yeah. And nobody, outside of Michael Thomas, really blossoms into something special. Mm-hmm. I thought Noah Brown had all the tools to do it. he had a great Oklahoma game, but then was meh the rest of the year.
Yeah, but he had that great Oklahoma game against two guys that are no longer on the team. Like, not because they graduated, they're just not on the team.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, not sure that's quality defense, But anyway, yeah, Noah Brown, at least he made a 53-man roster for the Cowboys, so props to him. He's a hard worker, big dude. He has the tools. But, yeah, it's really frustrating, these wide receivers. I mean, I'm looking at all these stars on these guys. Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor. These guys are all 4 stars. Johnny Dixon was a 5, I believe. McLaurin was a 4. Where is it?
Grimes is a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all were. They're all highly touted. And, I watched these other schools, and I know he's no longer there, but, I saw a kid that Donnie Corley that we missed out on when he went to Michigan State.
Right.
And it's like, okay, but this guy's, we want him, but he's just another 4-star. I mean, welcome to the room. We got 7 more of you there. Right. And he's the one kid that goes to Michigan State, and all of a sudden, this dude was blowing up his true freshman year and developing, contesting, fighting for balls, making catches, making plays. And I just, not that we don't once in a while. Mac had a great catch there and got concussed, it looks like, smacked his head good. But it's just, there's no consistency. And we were talking about it earlier on that one play, and you got guys that, are running, giving about 80% on some of their routes. That's just not going to work, especially when our shitty route tree and play calling is JT Barrett rolls out to the right and into blanket coverage and throws it out of bounds. I mean, how many more times do I got to look at that?
Yeah. And this whole development of players issue is the same thing I used to bang on, what's his name, Brady Hoke at Michigan for. He could recruit, he'd get 4-star, 5, maybe an occasional 5-star into Michigan during his tenure, but could not develop them for shit. Peppers is the only guy that really made it through the Brady Hoke ringer, and just on basically raw ability. He was not developed at all. They didn't even know what position he played, for Christ's sake. So, yeah, development is the big thing in college football. It's great. Anybody can get 4- and 5-star dudes on their campus, but can you develop them, and make them college players? Because just having a bunch of 4-star high school kids on your college team doesn't do you any fucking good.
I agree. I mean, it's at a different level, and of course they're good, but you know what? Everybody grows up that's going to these big schools, and they get man muscles and put on some weight and pounds, and at that point you're you've got to be coaching them up, or these other kids will pass you by. Yeah. And again, I don't want to blame it all on them, because sometimes I really see some fight in them. I see some great blocking. I see some tough catches. That Mac catch, and McLaurin's made some. They've all made some nice plays here and there, and at times they show promise. There's just zero consistency. Yeah. And you'd brought it up earlier, and maybe there's too many guys in there that. Maybe the timing's off.
I think you pare it down.
I mean, everything's a possibility at this point, but tough to put your finger on it when it all stinks.
I think you pare it down to, your starting 3. If you're going to go with a 3 wide receiver set, you got your 3, and then you got their backups. That's it. No more 6 rotating shits and stuff. And if guys get tired, then they rotate out. That's fine. I don't care. But this is not like the D-line, where we have studs across the board. These are like mediocre guys right now. So you can't just rotate mediocre guy through mediocre guy. Let's find our best 3, start them, get them on the field, the bulk of the snaps, like 65, 75% of the game, and go with that. This 6-man rotation, they don't do that in the NFL, man. There's a reason. You got to have a rapport between the quarterback and receivers, and that takes reps. practice, game, everything. I don't know any team, honestly, that runs 6 dudes out at receiver. I can't comprehend that. Because everybody runs their routes differently. Everybody's different sizes. They have a different catch zone or radius. It's different for all 6 guys. It's mind-blowing. I don't know how they think this is a good idea. When Chris Carter was at Ohio State, did they rotate 4 guys or 5 guys? No.
No, they didn't. But again, back then, I don't think necessarily that Ohio State had 6 4-star kids on the team. In the rotation. I mean, every one of these kids, and the talent level behind them is supposed to be even better. Right. I just, like I said, I don't know. I think I'm with you, Coach, wide receivers coach, Zach. He's got to be on the hot seat. It has been a mess with the talent we've got there, and to segue into the other hot seat, Coach Stud in that O line is that right side is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And for all the talent that's behind those guys, all the huge recruits that are that aren't playing, how can we not have serviceable guys on the right side of Ohio State's line?
Yeah, another letdown in star power. We talked about Burrell and Knox before the season started and how they were supposed to be competing. No, they're not. These guys are major letdowns. Pridgeon
and I see. I'm starting to get away, and I thought the same thing as you, but I don't know if that's true. It might be Coach Stud. How do you have that many? I mean, that O line is freaking loaded with high prospects, and I get some of your prospects aren't going to turn out. That's the law of averages, but we can't find anyone out of 8 4-star dudes that's even serviceable on the right side. When I see all these other teams, starting, younger kids that do a fine job.
Yeah, well, Isaiah Prince obviously is going to always be the target of our fire, but they got a fucking true freshman behind him. So that tells you that there is no depth in these key spots that are getting blown up.
Well, again, I mean, call it what you want, call it depth, but same thing as Smith. I don't think he's developing these kids. I think you got kids that are really, good. Price obviously been in the program long enough, gets it. He's solid. Our left side's fine, and Jordan came in young and did it, but I think he did it because he's probably a beast. And, he came and started as a freshman. Coach didn't need to coach him up much.
But again, I go back to the depth because you should not have freshmen starting on your fucking line. True freshmen especially. It's frightening to me if one of these guys goes down, like say Jamarco Jones, a Michael Jordan.
Don't say that.
If one of those guys goes down, we're looking at a major step down in ability, I think. I don't even want to think about it.
Well, like I said, don't jinx that. We've been pretty lucky to avoid injuries on the O-line through the past few years. So let's hope that continues and they get better. I just, but maybe it takes a game like this to, problem is it's been 4 or 5 games like this that they've not looked great. And I'm not talking about just the O-line, but the whole offense in general. I don't know what the stat was, and I'm sure it's on your sheets or whatever, but the scoring average over the last 4 or 5 games is like 20-something points, and the yardage is awful except for Indiana, which we blew up in the second half. Mm-hmm. And again, that was athletes making plays. I don't think those were great you know, if I'm JT Barrett, I'm not thumping my chest that I threw for 300 yards against Indiana because you didn't look that good, and you hit a couple home runs on passes that you threw under 10 yards.
Right. Yeah, the receivers made the plays there. So, you want to get into any of this Twitter beef with the recruits looking for a change at quarterback? Any interest in that?
Not a ton of interest. It just, you know, if well, yes and no. I mean, I guess I can see it from both sides. I mean, that whole game, if you would have saw what I was texting, oh, you did. I wasn't that kind on JT Barrett myself, and I was all about getting Dwayne Haskins in there. That being said, if I'm a recruit and I'm visiting a game like that, you know, this new social media age, hey guys, you can't take it back, and you know, you start saying stupid shit like that, especially if you've already got, you know, hey, you know, what kind of character does this guy have? Well, you know, if you got a bad attitude and you're questioning the coach, the team obviously loves JT Barrett, the coaches love JT Barrett, you know, then you're already starting to, you know, fuck up the locker room, and you're not even on the team. So if I don't care how good you are, if you got a bad attitude and you're not a team guy, then I'd rather not have you than you blow up Ohio State's locker room, because that can't be cured. You know, that you have something like that and your season's ruined. So I hope everybody gels behind JT Barrett. I was calling for his head during that game. Kind of over it a little bit, but everybody just put down your fucking Twitter accounts. Jeez, you too, Herbie. I mean, don't even acknowledge any of this stuff, and then it won't even be a thing. But you know, I can't blame Micah Parsons for saying what he said, because I said the same shit. Just, you know, have some goose, you know, have some respect and all that shit. And I haven't followed it all. You filled me in on some of it earlier, and with this stuff, but you know, you either want to be a Buckeye or you don't, and guess what? You don't get to decide. Coach Meyer and his staff decide, and that's that. And if you want to fight against that, no, you're wrong. Well, then go to fucking Penn State or wherever else you want to go. Right.
Well, there's two sides to this that I see, and basically, just a quick summary of what happened for everybody. 5-star DN Micah Parsons, 5-star tackle Jackson Carman, and then Jason Woodbay, already committed safety out of California, all chimed in that Dwayne Haskins should be starting, and they're basically calling for JT's head, and so Herb Street jumped into.
I mean, I don't know if I saw the initial tweets. I mean, calling for his head. And did they say starting? I think they said put my boy in there. But I mean, I think it got blown up a little bit more than, you know. Everyone's gonna fucking hang on what a 17-year-old's saying. I'm not really into it.
I understand. Yeah, but you know, if you follow recruiting, which a lot of us do, then you're gonna take some of these words with some meaning, and I think that Herb Street was justified in telling recruits they don't have to chime in about their football team's quarterback position and who should play. So I don't know. It's kind of low rent for the kids, but they probably don't know any better, you know. And I believe they have a major sense of entitlement. Maybe that's just my point of view on it. But they seem to have, especially these 5-star guys, have a major sense of entitlement, especially Jackson Carman, guys that are kind of working the visit system, you know, and they have this big air about them because major programs around the country want them, like USC and Clemson and Ohio State, you know, and they feel like they can get away with more. That's my problem, you know. And I don't think it's their position to open their mouth about who should be playing quarterback at Ohio State. JT won't even be there by the time they get there. So why do you give a fuck? Maybe you should focus on your high school.
No, but a lot of people that fucking love and respect JT Barrett will be there. And to me, you're just coming in with a bad fucking
right. You're kind of ruining the locker room without even being in the locker room. You know, from outside, you're like just any other person. And my point is, maybe you focus on your team you're playing for right now. You know, whatever high school team that might be. Focus on that, and then after that, you can get into how you think the team should go forward.
I mean, you don't even tell your high school coach that, do you, Micah?
I doubt
Jackson?
it.
I mean, hey, pull that guy. I got my buddy over here that I like. He can do a lot better job. I mean, you don't even pull that shit with your own high school coach. So,
no,
the entitlement's sick. But let's move on.
I
just fucking irritates me.
Just one final quote that Taylor Decker tweeted out later today, actually early this evening, that I think puts it all into one perfect tweet for me is oh, bro, if you want to look undesirable to a program, this is how to do it. Got kids telling the Ohio State what to do. I'm on board with that.
I am too.
4-year starter, O-line, I think he knows a little bit. But
agreed.
Anyway, let's get into this pregame for the...
Hold on 1 second, though. 1 second. Let me wrap up. We didn't touch on the defense. I think the D-line played good, a lot of pressure. Baker, making a lot of plays, though. Hats off to that little prick. He's a hell of a football player, but the O-line, I think, was doing their job. The linebackers, I don't know why, all three of you bite on the fucking play action so hard every time.
Right.
And then the middle of the field is always wide open. And the secondary, you look terrible. Arnett, you talk so much shit out there and whatnot. We're the worst pass D in the country right now. So congratulations, secondary. Get your shit together. The only one I think that's doing a decent job out there, Webb. I guess Ward to some extent as well. And I'm hopeful. What's his face? Start the other corner that should be playing over Arnett more.
Okuda.
He keeps his game. Well, I'd like to see a
Sheffield,
but Sheffield.
He's looking better.
I think he's got.
I thought he looked a lot better this week.
Eric Smith. I mean, I've been a huge fan of Eric Smith forever, but I just watched a couple plays where you're chasing people and not catching them, and I'm like, not a fan. You're in my doghouse. Put it that way. So that's all I got on the defense. D-line, keep it up. Keep us in these games, and everybody else in the back. Pull your shit together.
Yeah, the back 7 or 8 or however you want to word it, they've had both physical and mental errors. Very difficult to watch them, especially those linebackers. They're undisciplined, is how I see it, and that's a big problem going into this triple option game this week against Army. This is disciplined football. This is assignment football, as they always say. And this is a true test of how disciplined your linebackers can be. So this is our first ever meeting with Army, by the way. Did not know that. 4:30 on Fox, so look for that. I don't know who's doing the game. Hopefully Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. That's a good combo in the booth. Anyway, like I said, this is going to be a difficult game for an undisciplined defense. So it's going to be very interesting.
Well, the nice thing is you're going to take our secondary out of it, so they're not going to.
Yeah,
it's
and that's going to
running, obviously.
It's going to pad those stats, those passing defense stats. So
yeah,
that'll help us out. Knock that average down a little bit. From what I've heard, Tate Martell's running scout team again this week with the option. Herb said he's given great effort, and Herb said this is a great equalizer. It's very hard to get ready for this in just a few days, because you have not just the way they run it, but the cut blocks. Cut blocks are something you don't see anymore. you might see a handful a game, but these guys are doing 40 to 50 a game. So watch those knees, fellas. might want to brace up. Brace up and then ice up.
I'm with you.
So, you know how Army plays, and there's no two ways getting around it. We're going to have a limited number of possessions and plays this week, so we have to make the most of them. We can't fuck around and expect them to go, 4 or 5 possessions into our territory and not come away with some type of points. And we're probably going to be limited to 8, maybe 10 possessions total, where typically you get over a dozen or more. So this is going to be maximizing opportunity. This is going to be huge. Thoughts?
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think you got to. It is going to be disciplined. I think their offense, I think, will play into our strengths. I look forward to our D-line having a good showing, and the linebackers, hopefully making some tackles and some good safety play. I know nothing about their defense, and if we can't get it done against Army, who I have huge respect for, I love playing the service schools. But if JT Barrett looks like he did last week, and that offense looks like it did last week, there's going to be a lot more tweets from a lot more people.
I think I can tell you how they're going to play D. They're going to drop 8 into a fucking zone between 0 and 10 yards.
Oh, why would you do that?
With an inaccurate quarterback that can only throw short.
Hey, let's not reinvent the wheel here on the fucking Buckeye cast.
Right, well.
Let's not let any secrets out to our opponents.
Yeah. Shoot me, Herb. Sorry. I'm the Benedict Arnold. So another big point that I was not aware of with Army is you have to be heads up on the punt team, both punt block and punt return, in that they will fake it. They will go for the block punt like heavy. So that's one area of emphasis that I hope he's pointing out to these guys this week, because they go after it and then they'll run some fakes. So these guys try and steal possessions when they can, and typically on a punt. I'd be shocked if we...
Well, if nothing else, Army's fucking going to be disciplined. There ain't no doubt about that.
Sure, yeah.
They're good. They talk about assignment football. They got their assignment, they have their mission, and you go complete the mission.
Yep.
Not that they're going to be able to complete this mission, but they're going to play sound football.
I tell you what, I hate to say it, but can you easily see this game lingering into the second half, maybe late second half, and being a 1 or 2 possession game? I can see this happening. Ohio State sleepwalks.
I can see it. No, I can't.
No?
I cannot.
Okay.
No. Maybe first quarter, but no way. If it does, I'm going to, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it ain't going to be good for me.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the interviews I've seen with the players, and they're still kind of dwelling on the loss into Wednesday.
It's because, I don't know, I mean, Ohio State gets a loss, and maybe it's just the world we live in, but fuck, it's a game, and it's one loss, and I'm not that worried about it, because Urban Meyer, the only time he's ever won one of his national championships is when he has a loss.
Right.
So, maybe this is the game that wakes us up like Vatek did, and the guys rally behind it. In that video, open your chest. This isn't a phony program, but you got to fucking play.
Yeah. And,
go get them, guys. Let's, I don't mean to rush this along here, but let's get to some spotlights here.
Okay. Just wanted to quickly update the injuries. Joe Burrow is probable this week. Mike Weber's back in practice and will probably play. Austin Mack did practice today and has passed all the concussion protocol tests. And Demario McCall, Mr. MIA, has been on a milk carton. He is almost 100%. Never even knew he was injured, by the way. And then Dwayne Haskins is close to game ready. So that's your injury update for this week. Let's go to Microscopes. Who do you got your microscope on this week?
Well, these are two really easy ones. On offense, my microscope is on JT Barrett. I think I'm not putting all the blame on him. I did last week during the game, but I put it equally on the play calling and the receiver play and the right side of that line play. But I think JT Barrett, with all this stuff, and you start reading the headlines, I'm hoping it didn't get in his head, and I just want to see a sound performance by him under some adversity, and hoping he pulls through and looks like the JT that everyone knows he can be. On defense, I'm really just looking at like you said, I'm keeping my microscope on the defensive line's knees and hoping we don't need to do MRIs after the game, because I love Army, but these are some shot blocking motherfuckers, man.
Yeah, for
an head on a swivel with these bastards.
Yeah, for an honorable program that used to be frowned upon not too long ago.
All them service schools, jeez.
Yeah. So I'm gonna focus up on offense is Paris Campbell. I'm waiting for this guy to blow up. I know he had the big one catch touchdown against Indiana that went 74 or whatever, but this guy needs to be consistent and not just a big play home run guy once in a great while every other game. He needs to be consistent every game, have 5 to 8 catches and maybe a couple carries out of the backfield. We haven't seen him do any of that. Maybe a jet sweep, anything to get him in open space, because obviously he has the speed. And then on defense, Dante Booker, strong side linebacker, going against this offense is going to be key. I want to see how he plays, if he can play disciplined or if he's just going to be a loose cannon out there.
You know? He's going to have to blow up that lead block. I mean, he's going to have to blow up the block, attack it, and let someone make a play. So I'm with you on that. It's going to be interesting. I don't think it'll last long, but hopefully it'll get them a little bit of their confidence back.
So we got the Buckeyes by 30 with an over-under of 53. How do you see this playing out?
I used to pick that we'd score about 50 points, but I'm backing off that a little bit. I would like to see us score in the neighborhood of 40. I don't know if we'll quite get there, so I'm going with 38-13 Buckeyes.
Okay, so not to cover, okay.
No, I'm not taking the cover.
Okay. I think we're going to blow up this week, and we're going to put it on a lesser opponent. I'm going to go 63-10. 63-10 with the cover. And we do have one. You got time for a Twitter question?
Yeah, one quickie.
So we do have one Twitter question this week, folks. Came out of left field, was not expecting this one. This is from @TOmler711. What's 711 stand for? 7-Eleven?
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Open all day.
So his question is, how's the offense under Kevin Wilson any different than what we saw last year? #meet the new boss. I see where he's going there. I like the who too.
We discussed it a little bit earlier. We brought in, all the hype was around Kevin Wilson coming in here, this offensive guru. Look what he did with Indiana and their passing game and their running backs. And we get all this hype that, oh man, great offensive mind, bringing him in to coordinate. But, he comes in first year and it's the same offense. And so I think, what you get into is Herb doesn't give these guys the keys necessarily. He basically says, look, here's my offense, here's the base style, you run it for me, you call the plays, you figure it out, and does that. Now, I'd love to see Kevin Wilson implement his own offense, but I get the problem that you run into is that if you totally change your philosophy and you go with the Kevin Wilson offense, okay, now in a year or two, Kevin Wilson's going to go get a new job, and now you don't got any other coach that can run that damn thing, and now you go back, and now you're changing philosophy. So, I think they're sticking with, it's going to be Herb's philosophy. I would like to see that philosophy evolve a bit, if you will, but I don't know if that philosophy handcuffs Wilson's mindset. but they're certainly not on the same page on what needs to be done. So that's my take, D-Town.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Kevin Wilson does not completely own this offense yet, and who knows if he ever would. This is Urban Meyer's offense, and he has ultimate veto power. We all know that. So he's going to have his 2 cents in on every call, and he's going to, if he doesn't like the call, he's going to push back and tell him to guess again. So this is not any different from last year, Timmy. Meet the new boss, the same as the old boss. Just a different coach.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you pick 63. I believe it when I believe it. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Anyway.
Anyhow, go Bucks. We're gonna win it still. Just fucking keep your heads up. Let's rock, everybody, and safe. Stay safe down there in Florida. We're with you.
All right.
Go Bucks.
Good talking to you. Good show, Henry. And thanks for filling in for Jeff and carrying the bag. We'll talk to you later, Buckeye fans. As you know, hit us up on your favorite podcast app and hit the website. And email me at joe@buckeyecast.com. And we'll see you next week.
It's fun time.